Life is a file of colorful pages. It operates in various phases. There are ups and there are downs. And, when you pick yourself up, you do come around. That's life. And that's my story. And I'm sure you agree that that's my story, that's your story too. Because we're all living and living beautifully. We all are human beings and we all play multiple roles. I play a role of a woman, of being a woman. I play a role of being a wife to my amazing husband. I play the role of being a sister to my younger brother and an elder sister.
And I also play a role of being a little sister to my son.
And I am a corporate professional working in the space of learning and development, and also leadership development, and also diversity, equity, and inclusion. Had an amazing career for 21 long years, and the journey continues. Friends, my name is Madhu Bala Sharma. You all can call me Madhu Bala or Madhu or Mads. But right straight after the Bollywood actress passed away, possibly I came in, and that's where in front of you is Madhu Bala, second daughter to my parents, um, an elder sister. I have an elder sister and a younger brother. My sister and I happen to be totally blind since birth, and so that gave a big and an interesting challenge to my parents. Not me, because that would come along later, right? But the challenge to raise girls and beautiful girls who are also blind. Not easy, right? Double whammy. Because in a society, when you look at a girl child being born and then a child with a disability, imagine the kind of difficulties they went through, the kind of challenges, the comments they heard. Bechari. Arey. For our parents, their identity became blind ladkiyon ke parents. And then people started hesitating to say the word blind ladkiyon ke. They just started saying ladkiyon ke parents. So ladkiyon ke parents, to them, my mom turned around and said, are we the only ones who have girls? Are there no other folks who have girls? So from there, the journey continued. My parents did not let anything come in their way. They did everything to raise us well. And the confidence with which I stand here today, I totally owe it to my parents and the upbringing that I've had, and the nurturing that I got. Well, my story is just like yours, like I said, and some pluses. Because when you live with a disability, the challenges are there for everyone. For me, they became 2x. Basically, at school, studying and appearing for exams has been your challenge as well. Now, studying and appearing for exams and finding my own study material is a +1, an added challenge. Now, studying and finding study material, and then when you got to write your exam, finding a writer to write your exam, another +1 challenge. That's the kind of journey that I've been living with. So, solved those challenges by literally writing my own books. What does that mean? When you need to pick up a book and read, what do? Go to the library, pick up the book, open the pages, feel like it, read it, don't feel like it, keep it aside. For me, Braille books, very, very voluminous, not always available as well. Find someone and ask them,
Could you please record this for me?
Right? Been doing this in childhood, right? Or asking teachers to record this for me, asking my parents, my friends to record chapters for me. And that's how literally I printed my own books, sometimes just a week before the exam. And that went on to college as well. When I was graduating, I graduated in English through Ladies Sriram College. Um, but that was not my subject of choice. I chose the next best that I could, right? What was my subject of choice? I love people. I love life. So my subject of choice was psychology. So we all face a challenge of filling up the forms in colleges. We all face the challenges of deciding the subject and also getting or even deciding which college to go to, right? I had all those challenges plus one. I was told that because you're blind, you will not be able to study psychology because, there are practicals and it'll be very, very hard for you to take the practicals. And I said, I can do it. But I was told, you can't. So I had to solve for that challenge and I went on to life. Life worked with me, life came along. I took up a career where I started training thousands of people on leadership skills, on human behavior, on professional development. And that, the way it solved and it unfolded for me, I learned so much that no degree could ever teach me. So I have a fair understanding now of leadership development and professional development and human psychology. That's all. Challenge got solved. We got married. My husband sitting here as well. We are blessed with our child is a young adult. He's now 17. When you're married, you get to hear, now you should have a child. Our challenges doubled. Plus one, right? It's always been plus one. Plus one. What came my way? You shouldn't have a child because, what if the child has a disability? And that what if was a big question mark. But then, what I thought about it, and my husband and I, both of us being blind, what we thought was, we want to go for this opportunity and bring in a life and experience the joy of parenthood. And how did we do that? We went for it. We planned for the child. And our pretext was that even if the child has a disability, then who else will be better trained to, help the child survive and overcome the challenges? So with that thought, we went ahead and we are blessed with a son, and he can see. He is totally, he's non-disabled and coming along, and as any other child, teases me, makes fun of me, helps me come along, sometimes tell me, Mama, you're old. And he's the one who created actually this little sister that you just heard at the start. Because one day he said, I want a sibling. And we were like, oh, no way, not again. So we were like, okay, let's do this. So I started with this whole journey of like, okay, now change the diaper, share the toys, do everything. And so it was. He was so happy that there is no actual child to take away my toys, no actual child to hold a share in my property. So this child is good. So with that, we grew up and this continued. And then, of course, life continues. Life had to happen. Midlife also has to happen. I refuse, my friends, to believe that I'm at midlife. I'm like, really? People come and tell me, no, we are aging, menopause hitting or perimenopause. And I'm like, and, we're aging. And then I'll say, age is just a number. That's okay. We are people. Let the child in you be alive. Let the child in you be free. Keep yourself free. Don't hold up yourself in a shell. Just break free from this number, this age. And then, one fine day when I was standing and delivering a session, a talk like this, I started hearing my own voice in my ear. So devastating, so confusing. Being blind, now am I losing my hearing, which I was so proud of? Then it continued, and I'm like, okay, it's just a phase, it will go away. Another day, I was going down for a walk, and my knee hurt. Okay, there's another thing that's coming along, and I hit the most difficult phase when my beautiful fingers, my artistic fingers, I was typing an email and the little finger started hurting. I couldn't move my index finger and press the caps lock. I was like, what's going on? And that point in time, I said, it really is midlife. Age actually is catching up with me. But then, if age is catching up, I've got to be ahead of the game. So I thought to myself that if that's the case, I've got to find solutions to it. Along the way, I've always believed that where there are challenges, there are solutions. Where the only thing is, they are playing hide and seek with you. The challenges, the solutions to the challenges are hiding somewhere, which you just need to seek and get them out and be eye to eye and get going with it. And that's what I did. I followed a framework that I'm going to now share with you to navigate not just through midlife, but through life. And that, my friends, is cool. Be cool. Are we cool? We've got to be cool, isn't it? Cool, my friends, is in the literal sense being cool in your approach to life, being calm, cool, and collective where there is stress, and being cool in your approach to living the child in you alive. It stands for something as well. What does this stand for? C stands for compassion. Compassion is my passion, and I suggest you go for it as well. I remember this one story one time when I traveled in public space, public transports, and I was once going to catch a bus and waiting for the bus, and I needed to cross the road. So I asked this gentleman, I could, sense that someone is standing next to me, and I said, excuse me, can you, आप मुझे road cross करने में help कर सकते हैं? Can you help me cross the road? And this person said, okay. And this person held me by my arm, walked me to the middle of the road, and we were about to cross on the other side. He said, अरे मैडम मेरी बस आ रही है, मैं जा रहा हूँ. And I'm like, okay, I'm standing in the middle of the road, and says, मैडम मेरी बस आ रही है, मैं जा रहा हूँ. I said, fine. And I said, okay, ठीक है, thank you very much, आप जाइए. Because I understood that the bus service always is not that great. If this person missed his bus then, may have to wait for long. I had immense compassion for that person at that moment. And I looked to the left, looked to the right, with my ears, right? And then cross the road. So compassion is about being considerate of what others are going through as well. We're a lot of times entangled in thinking, oh, this person doesn't understand me. This person is doing this wrong. This person is doing that wrong. But if we're able to have that love, that care, that compassion for others, situations do change. We do come around. That's compassion. O then stands for ownership. Taking ownership of my own actions. Not just my own actions, my own situations. At that point in time, I took the ownership to cross the road. I had to, right? There was no other way. I couldn't be standing in the middle of the road. I also took ownership of this situation when my fingers started hurting. I went to the doctors, got all the tests done, and finally, I discovered that I have something called rheumatoid arthritis. Now, because of using my fingers a lot, because of using my ears a lot to compensate for the loss of sight, you see, that's a +1 challenge. That's a +1 situation that comes with midlife, right? menopause, flushes, mood swings, that worry and that void that one might experience when one's son will go away to study, all of that, and these health challenges, right? So I learned that this my arthritis is not as bad that it can show up into tests in the tests, but worse enough, terrible enough to disrupt my life. But will I let it disrupt my life? No way. I only have it my way, right? So I did a lot of research, a lot of finding. I owned the situation. I owned my problems, and my husband and I, we read through a lot of books. We read through the material online on the internet. Yeah, I access the internet just like anyone else using technology, and figured out some lifestyle changes. I made those changes, and I am now much better, and I do not have that morning stiffness that I experience every day. But the 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 pudding the is or is literally in making those lifestyle changes and owning up what you really need to do. That ownership also helped me encourage and determine that, hey, life is going on and on and on, and what I need to do is have fun. Have fun at every moment. I play Nobita. I play
Doraemon.
and Nobita and Doraemon with my son's little sister and my son. We all have a lot of fun games. I decide to take short breaks, not wait for that one long break when I will recharge myself. I take ownership to recharge myself every day, not just like your phones and watches. They need charging every day. We need charging every day as well. I take ownership of all of that. And then the second O, my friends, stands for openness. Being open to opportunities, being open to new learning, being open to new ideas. I became open to this whole idea of midlife when I was in denial that I'm forever 21. I am not getting old, right? To, okay, this is coming. These are life situations, and how I've handled others, I will handle these as well. So, learning along the way and open to new ideas is how I came along. And then what does L stand for? L stands for love yourself. I love myself for who I am. I love myself for my disability. I love my blindness. I love my rheumatoid arthritis because my blindness encourages me to speak to so many others and open doors for many others in the corporate world as well. My blindness enables me to look at things differently. My arthritis enabled me to take charge of my life, to do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise, to make those lifestyle changes that I wouldn't have made otherwise. So, accepting myself with all the flaws, all the strengths, all the weaknesses, love myself. And that, my friends, is my mantra that's actually enabled me. And all of this stands on the pillar of gratitude. I have immense gratitude for all the situations that come my way, for all the support that I get as I go along. And with that, what I want to share with all of you and urge all of you to do is embrace yourself. Bring your hands and give yourself a hug. Left hand on the right shoulder, right hand on the left shoulder. Just pat yourself and say, I am blessed. I love myself. I love myself with all my strengths and weaknesses. And that, my friends, will really enable us to navigate through not just midlife, but every stage of life. I invite all of you to make this life truly yours. Own it, be cool, and write your pages, your colorful pages of your life. Make it your way because your story is truly special and it needs and deserves a beautiful living. Thank you.